Okay, so today I am going to take you through the 5 key elements of Pilates. Okay, so when we're considering body alignment and good posture position for when we're doing our Pilates exercises, there's 5 key elements that I'm going to take you through today that you need to know before doing any of our APPI Pilates run classes here. So if you haven't already, just go back to the video beforehand and watch our Pilates rest position. That's very important that you watch that before you do these 5 key elements, okay? So first of all, I'm going to take you through key element number 1. So that is breathing, okay? So all of our exercises of our 5 key elements are going to be done in our Pilates rest position, okay? So we're going to get into our Pilates rest position. Okay, we're going to lie down, and as before, I'm just going to put a pillow underneath my head just to keep my neck nice and relaxed. If you have a pillow, or if you just even fold up a towel or anything like that, just gently pop it underneath your head to make sure your head's in a nice neutral position. Okay, just quickly run through our Pilates rest position. So feet and knees are in line with our sitting bones, in line with our shoulders, okay? We're going to relax our rib cage and shoulders. We're going to run through that now anyway, okay? So our first one that we're going to run through is number 1 is our breathing, okay? So breathing is so important. Obviously it keeps us alive, but especially in exercise, to optimize our exercise, we are going to start off with our breathing, okay? So we're going to place our hands on the outside of our ribs here, so just on the lower half of our ribs, okay? So we're going to place our hands here, and all I want you to do before we start correcting you or teaching you is just literally lie there for just 1 minute and just take some natural breaths. Try not to change your natural breathing too much, and just notice, are your ribs coming up? Are you breathing? Is the top of your ribs cage moving? Middle, lower? Is your tummy moving up and down? And just what's happening in your breathing, so you can just feel, leaving your hands here, what part of your ribs. Just be aware of what way you're breathing. Are you able to keep your head and your lower pelvis neutral as you're breathing, okay? So just want to be aware of everything that's happening, okay? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through the nice breathing technique. So we're obviously in our nice Pilates rest position. We're going to place our hands, keeping them on our side, okay? And as we inhale through our nose, we're going to lower, so we're going to fill the lower half of our rib cage. So you're going to feel that lower part of the ribs just broadening and sinking into the mat, okay? So you want those lower half of the ribs really broadening, really sinking in to the mat, okay? So you should feel it in the mat underneath you. And as we inhale, and then as we exhale, you just feel your 2 ribs as if they're magnets coming back together. So we're going to inhale again. Going to broaden those lower ribs, fill out those lateral side of our rib cage here. And then as we exhale through our mouth, we're going to feel those ribs, and you'll feel your hands coming closer together. So we're going to inhale apart, exhale together. Okay, so that's just our nice breathing technique to practice. So really trying to fill up those lower parts of our ribs. We're not breathing through our big chest muscles up here. Okay, nothing's moving, shoulder and head is staying nice and still. We're just breathing through the lower part of our ribs here, getting the diaphragm involved. Okay, so that's our breathing. So that's our first key element. Our second key element is called centering, okay? So the first part of centering is finding our neutral spine, so similar to what I did in the Pilates rest position video. Okay, so how we're going to find that is, how we do it is we make a diamond with our hand. Okay, so we bring our index finger to our index finger and our thumb to our thumb. Okay, so we make a diamond, we're going to place that, so we're going to come just in from those bony parts of your hips. We're just going to come in and rest our diamond on the lower half of our abdominal here. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to tip that diamond. So again, if you can't see, we're going to tip that diamond the bottom all the way down, and then we're going to roll and tip the other part of the diamond all the way into the mat. So essentially we're rolling this way and rolling back. Okay, so we're going to place our diamond down, roll forward, roll our lower back down, and eventually we're settling just in the middle of that position. So if we look down, our diamond should be nice and flat. Okay, so my diamond is nice and flat in that position now. Okay, so I have my first part of my centering, so my neutral spine. Okay, so the second part of our centering is getting our pelvic floor involved, okay? So obviously we can do this when we're in the studio, we can practice with a partner, or you can practice with someone at home, but when we're in this lying down position, we'll just practice using our mind, okay? So we have three kind of different types of pelvic floor muscles, okay? So the first one we're going to do is our transverse abdominis, okay? So we're going to find those bony points on our hips. You definitely have them, don't worry, they're your pelvis, they're definitely there. We're going to come 1 inch in and 1 inch down, okay? So we're going to place our hands there. So we're 1 inch in from our bony parts of our hips, and we're going to go 1 inch down towards the floor, okay? So now we're on our transverse abdominis and our deep oblique muscles. Okay, so we're going to leave our hands there, and what we're going to pretend is if we're wearing a really tight kind of corset or a belt, and there's 10 notches on that belt or corset, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to try tighten that corset just 3 notches, okay? So obviously if we tightened it 10 out of 10, we'd be squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. We just want a gentle contraction of 3 out of 10. And what you should feel under that little point on where your fingers are is a nice, just gentle contraction, okay? So just kind of tighten that belt or that corset 3 out of 10. And another thing that you can do if you want either is you can imagine that those 2 bony hips are like magnets and you're just drawing them gently together. Okay, so that is going to engage our first pelvic floor muscle, so our transverse abdominis. We're going to feel a nice gentle contraction there, okay? So that's our first one. Our second one is our front passage, or for women is our vaginal canal, better known, but our front passage. So this is how I remember if you're in an elevator and you're on the bottom floor, you have to get to the 25th or the 26th floor and you have to pee, okay? And what you have to do is you're just kind of trying to hold that pee in, and that is a gentle contraction of our front passage. Again, we're not holding it as tight as we can, it's just that 3 out of 10 nice gentle contraction, okay? So that's our second one. And our third one is our back passage, okay? So that is, our analogy for that one is as if you're stopping yourself from passing wind, okay? So you're going to draw those muscles up, you're going to stop yourself from passing wind. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one at a time. So we're just going to have a gentle inhale, and just before we inhale, we're going to try contract 3 out of 10 our transverse abdominis. So that notch or that corset, 3 out of 10. Inhale, holding that contraction, and exhale, we're relaxing off. Okay, next one then is our vaginal canal, or our front passage for males, or we're going to hold that pee in that elevator, just again a 3 out of 10. So we're going to hold, inhale, fill in those lower tummy muscles again, those lower rib cage, and exhale out as we relax it off. Okay, and then our last one is our back passage. So we're going to tense up that back passage, stop ourselves from passing wind, hold it just as 3 out of 10, a nice gentle contraction, inhale, and exhale. Okay, so there are 3 pelvic floor muscles. Okay, so obviously they take a good bit of practice to get used to. So if you need to rewind and keep trying on this video, just remember like my analogies and things I've said, that's no harm at all. And we really want to practice those guys, okay? So there are pelvic floor muscles, a very, very key element of Pilates. Okay, so we've done our 1, so we've done our breathing now. We've done our centering, which is 2, so it's broken into our neutral spine and our pelvic floor muscles. So we're going on to our third key element, which is our rib cage placement, okay? So very important, and comes into play with our breathing and everything as well, okay? So how we're going to do that again, so we're going to find our nice Pilates rest position. So we're going to draw our rib cage down into the mat. So we're just going to melt that rib cage down. So again, when we're breathing and when we're inhaling, we should feel the lower part of our rib cage into the mat, and as we exhale, our two rib cages come together. So really nice and relaxed. We're keeping our shoulders and head now relaxed. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a nice inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to float our arms up. Okay, so we're just going to go just over our shoulder. Okay, so just up, so this is in line with our shoulder. We're just going to just go over our shoulder. Okay, so very, very commonly what we want to do when we lift our arms over our shoulder distance is our ribs and our back will want to come up. Okay, so you can see the gap underneath here. That's not what we want. We need to keep those rib cage down and our pelvic floor engaged and our neutral spine. Okay, so it's all coming together, the 5 key elements. Okay, so we're in this position now, and what we're going to do is we're just going to take 2 or 3 deep breaths. So again, we're breathing in, we're broadening and deepening those lower rib cage, feeling them in the mat, and as we exhale, rib cage come back together, keeping those shoulders and head nice and relaxed. And again, we're just in this position and we're just breathing away, but what we're doing is we're focusing on keeping that rib cage down, not letting our arms and our back arch off. Okay, so it's really focus on that rib cage, melting it into the mat, keeping that lower part of the rib cage into the mat as we breathe in and out. Okay, so that's our third one, our rib cage placement. Okay, so that's a nice one to practice too, just bringing the arms up over the head and making sure our rib cage stays down. Okay, so again, the fourth one that we're going to go on to, so key element 4, is our shoulder placement. Okay, so the same thing again, we're going to take a nice inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to float our hands up. Okay, so our hands are just in line with our shoulders now. And again, we're keeping that nice neutral spine, pelvic floor engaged, and our nice rib cage melted into the mat, nice and relaxed. We're moving on to our shoulders now. And what we want to do is find our nice shoulder position. So what we're going to do is just moving our shoulder blade, keeping our head, everything else still. We're going to reach our fingertips up to the ceiling. You can see my shoulder blades moving. And we're coming all the way back down, bringing those shoulder blades as much as you can into the mat. And again, we're going to reach away, reach those fingertips to the ceiling, get those shoulder blades off the mat. Okay, you can see my head and my rib cage staying down and nice and relaxed. We're drawing those shoulder blades down. Okay, so we're just getting aware of what our shoulder blades can do and what how our shoulders can move. Okay, so you can see that. So what we want to do is we're going to draw those shoulder blades down into the mat. Take a nice inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to relax our shoulders down. So we're feeling them nice and relaxed, but we're really aware of our rib cage melted down, and our shoulder blades drawn down, and our widening of that collarbone there. Okay, so that's our shoulder rib placement. Okay, so we've really come all the way up. And now our last one, our 5th key element, is our head position. Okay, so our head and neck, they come together, our head and neck position. So how we find this, obviously if I didn't have a pillow here, I'd be in an awful position for my neck, because chin would be poking up to the ceiling, and my neck would be really overactive and I'd get a sore. So we just pop in either a small little pillow or a cushion underneath our head just to relax those muscles on the front to break. And how we're just going to get our key element of our head position, we're just going to start off with a gentle nod of our head. Okay, so that we're just getting our deep neck flexors engaged here. Okay, so we're trying to keep the big guys at the front nice and relaxed, and it's just a gentle nod of our chin. That's it. So nice little gentle nod here. And another way to kind of remember is when we bring our chin in, we're just trying to lengthen the back of that neck there. So we're really trying to lengthen it. And just imagine if there was a string coming out from the tip-top centre of your brain or your skull there, and there was a string pulling you towards the opposite wall. It's going to pull that neck up nice and long and relaxed. The main thing, like I said in the Pilates rest position though, is that we're not squishing our chin like this. So you can see that my head is going to go up towards the ceiling. It's not going to go back towards the wall here. Okay, so my chin's not poking up and my chin's not on my chest. So it's in a nice relaxed position here where our deep kind of neck flexor exercises can be engaged. And that is our last 5 key element of the 5 key elements. Okay, so again, we're going to run through them. Our breathing, our centering, so broken into 2, our neutral spine and our pelvic floor muscles. Number 3 is our rib cage. 4 is our shoulders and our shoulder blade placement. And 5 is our neck and head position. And all of those together are the 5 key elements of Pilates. So nice little ones, practice for everyone at home. Any questions, obviously let us know.